All right, but before we get to all that now, just sticking with movies for a little bit now, let's talk about the first trailer, or as they call it, the teaser trailer, for Bob Marley One Love. Yeah,
Right.
so it dropped.
So
Well,
yeah.
first off, it actually, well, the poster for it dropped Wednesday, right? Last Wednesday, time of us recording this, right? It's like, all right, it look cool. I like, with the red, gold, and green, using it as a spotlight on Marley. Okay, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But I mean, we've been hearing about this project for a while now, right? I think long after since it unfortunately is a documentary that not that many people remember. There was a documentary, I think, back in 2015, I think it was, or earlier on, called Marley, right, which was about his life, right?
Right.
The
Right.
life and career of easily one of the most influential figures, regardless of music, right? In history, right?
Yeah.
This guy pretty much has been revered ever since he stepped into the scene, and of course since he passed away in the early 80s. I mean, he is regarded as a legend, right? And it's so funny because, like, for many of us, right, our official introduction to that came in easily one of the greatest compilation albums ever made. That would be Bob Marley Legend, right? Yeah, to me that was like the
Right.
gateway into his music, right?
I had that on CD as a child, and I played it all the time.
Exactly. We all grew up on that, right? And yeah, over the years, that was when we learned about albums like Kaya and Burning and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, we just learned so much about this guy, right? But when it comes to like just a film version of his life, right? It is one of those things where in the back of your mind, you just always tell yourself, it'd be interesting if that happened, but it just never did. And I don't know all the details, but I feel it just has to do with Tough Gong Records and the Marley family, and what they want, or what they want to be shown or expressed on screen and whatnot. So the closest thing we got to an actual film about his life was that film, right? Was that documentary, right? But again, that just kind of came and went, and people just sort of forgot about it. I remember seeing it, and I was like, all right, that's okay. But I remember a lot of people criticizing the film for, it just didn't scratch the surface of who this man was, right? And this is the hope that I have with this film here, right? That we're gonna see really who this man was, right? Outside of his music and the influence of it, right? So yeah, much to my surprise, yeah, the poster dropped on Wednesday. They say trailer was dropping the following day, so I was excited as hell. I went tuned in. I pulled up YouTube, I think around 11 o'clock in the morning, checked it out. And I would just say right off the bat, it looks okay. It doesn't look mind-blowing. I will say that it looks very, very, very good. It's very beautifully shot, right? It's done by
Yeah.
Ronaldo Marcus Green. His last film was King Richard, the Oscar-nominated film, which starred,
Right. Okay. Right.
Will Smith, yeah? Yeah, I found out that after the fact, right? So, yeah, I mean, it looks great, right? But of course, the big question is, who is playing Bob Marley? And surprise, surprise, is we boy Kingsley Ben-Adir, right?
Right. Yeah. He going. He doing. He going through a nice little run right now.
Yes, yes, he is, right? And I will say he looks the part. He looks it, right? My little gripe is that I find he lasts not as long as all that, like it's a little too short. That's just my
Right.
gripe, right? And I just find like I'm not expecting, because it's a biopic, right? I'm not expecting to see some kind of moment where he lashes out violently and says some kind of grand statement, right? But he's a little too chill in this trailer here. Like he just kind of a little too casual, a little too laid back. You know what I mean? That's just from what I've seen here, right?
Well, I mean, that is seller. Uh, they because I don't know what to call it, but they kind of kawaii him a little bit there. He looking like a softer version of the real Bob
Agreed. Yeah,
Marley.
yeah, yeah. Like that, right?
Like a very well. He looking like the early life, to be fair, but
Right.
that's
And
but
and
yeah.
from what I've seen here, they're gonna cover, like the 70s and all that stuff with the political parties and the gang wars and all that
Right.
stuff, and the attempt at this. Well, I don't want to say assassination, but that moment, I don't know all the full details. Sorry. Yeah, where his house got shut up, basically, right? So I know they're gonna touch on all that
Right.
kind of stuff, right? I was surprised to see McGill, Lashana Lynch, right, play Rita, right?
You're right. I
Yeah, I
she
didn't know
was
that
in
either.
this.
It's like, all
Yeah.
right, word you with this too. So we have two British actors in this film. I'll talk about that in a bit, right?
Right.
And there's a glimpse where I know they're gonna touch on the supposed infidelity, with Bob, because yeah, there's a moment
Well,
where
with this
Rita
Miss
opens
World.
a door and you see this white woman there, like, all right,
Yeah, Miss World, I think. Yeah.
right, yeah,
Was she Miss World?
um, I,
Miss
I,
World 77 or something. I
I,
can't
I
remember.
I can't remember. I really should do my research on this, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
and I like how they incorporate the music into the soundtrack, and they make it feel dramatic and all that. Like it's in at the end of the day, it's just an ordinary biopic, right? But
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of big. Well, I mean, we're going through like the big music biopic wave right now. So we get Freddie Mercury. He won an Oscar for that.
yeah,
Uh,
Bohemian
we
Rhapsody, yeah.
got right, which I thought as a film is kind of bad, but like as a his performance
Oh
was
yeah,
good.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I can't be mad at that.
Rami
Yeah,
Malek, yeah. He was great,
Rami
and he
Malek,
won an
right?
Oscar
Yeah.
for that, right?
Then well, this guy was good too. What do you call him? This one is Elton John. King
Yeah,
John. Um,
Taron Egerton. Yeah, I still haven't seen
yeah,
Rocket
he was
Man.
pretty good.
I still
Yeah,
haven't seen it. Shame on me,
right.
right?
Yeah, no, that is one of those cases, kind of like hmm, it's kind of like Ray and Walk the Line, where both were Oscar worthy, but one get more recognized than the other.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like that. So it's just a next generation of music is what is the 40-year cycle, right? Once it's like about 40 years past or 30 years past since it did, it's time for the big names to start piling on again. So not in the case of Elton John, he's still alive, but his career he blew up back
exactly.
then. So yeah, Bob Marley is what, the 80s, right? So close to what, 40 years almost.
Yeah,
He's dead now.
about that. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Right.
about that, right? So
So a few things for you, right? Before we get to your thoughts, right? As you mentioned, Oscars, right? I suspect that this film, well, actually, I'm now seeing here that it's going to be released on January the 12th. Because in my head, yeah, oof, right?
yeah, nice.
Because in my head, I tell myself, oh, this gonna come out after the Oscars, so they're not even gonna think about
Nah.
nominating this. But yeah, just given by its release date, yeah, this is probably not gonna get nominated, right? So that's that. But stick with the Oscars a little bit more. I was looking out for you. I was expecting you actually to mention Elvis, right?
Right, right.
Because yeah, I'm not saying that I'm picking up on Elvis vibes, right? But I just hope that they don't fall into the trap that Elvis did, where the first half was just this
Well,
indulgent
I mean,
look at his music and how influential he
yeah,
was, and it was just this
you know,
style over substance kind of thing.
yeah, well, no, in the case of Elvis, it was more a Baz Luhrmann scene than a Elvis problem.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. Baz had to push himself up
Yeah, so they're
and
playing
bring
this much
the
straighter.
musical qualities into it and whatnot. And yeah, like if you remember my review of Elvis, I thought that the first half was a mess, right? But
Yeah.
the second half, where everything slowed down and you saw, well, basically the fall of Elvis, that's when it worked for me, right? And I'm not even gonna talk about the Tom Hanks performance, right? I'm not
Right.
even gonna talk about that, right? But yeah, that's my fear with this, right? And this brings up to an issue that I want to bring up, right? So I'm not gonna mention the people by name, right? But basically, I know them through the Caribbean Tales Film Festival that's in Canada, right?
Right.
So they have Caribbean roots, right? So one of them is Barbadian, and the other two are Jamaican, right? And well, the two Jamaicans are older than me, right? So they grew up literally on Marley, right? And they know his influence and all that kind of stuff. They were not wowed by this trailer at all. They were not wowed, right? But the main
Yeah.
reason,
I
and
can
I don't want to
imagine.
delve too deep into it, right? Is the casting. They
Right.
felt that
I'm not
and
surprised.
even the Barbadian felt the same way. They should have cast a Jamaican to play Marley, right?
I can imagine that, yeah. But
Yeah,
you see,
and I
that's
know.
the typical thing. I gotta make my peace with that kind of thing. You'll get somebody who a face you kind of know, kind of name up and coming actor, who kind of looking at him maybe and could kind of pull off the accent. And I would go and go with, sorry,
Yeah,
it's too big of a film and he too big of a name, and the person Bob Marley is too big of a figure for them to not do something like that now with a project on
exactly.
this scale now.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide movie. Lashana Lynch is a big name, relatively. Stuff like
Yes. And
so
Kingsley
they
is
ain't gonna,
on
they
the
ain't gonna cast
rise
no
now,
Jamaican for this. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. But there will be the people who come and say, you could have cast one of his sons, right? So
Right,
like
nah.
like who, like what, Kimani or Steven, because
Nah,
they,
nah.
they
None of us-
those
none of
two
us
don't
actors.
they're not actors. But as far as
Exactly.
their sound, they sound the closest to their dad than
That's
anybody
fine,
in my
but you
opinion, right?
that's fine, but you need an actor. You see,
That's right.
because a lot of people prefer, well, usually in Hollywood circles, because it's still a movie and on a production level and actors union level and all of that stuff. That had to play out like, well, you had to get somebody who they rather actor who kind of something like him than somebody who, a pitch perfect thing. Now that's why you don't hire imitators to act in your movies, right? You hire an actor and then get a person to get to the point because they had to do scenes where we don't see them on camera, or you had to embellish a story or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah,
I get. Listen, is that typical complaint? I expect the complaint, and not surprised.
yeah. And a couple things couple,
Mm.
right? So yeah, the big issue, and I imagine it's gonna be that for a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Caribbean people who especially grew up and were influenced by Bob Marley, yeah, why you cast a British actor for, man, and you put a wig on the man and blah 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 blah, right? I just want to see the film for myself now, knowing that it's coming out so
Right.
early in the year, which is a big red flag for me. Yeah,
Right.
I just want to see what Kingsley brings to the table. 'Cause I think for what it's worth, I think that he is a great actor, right? It's just I have to get past the whole wig thing and just understand that he's playing a role, right? No more, no less. And same thing with
I
Lashana, right?
I want to say. I
With
mean, yeah.
with her performance as Rita, right? I'll just close this. I know a lot of people, especially in the Caribbean, are gonna be like waiting like fervently for this film to come out, right? And I know a lot of people
Right.
may come with the pitchforks and torches, like ready to burn this film
Right.
apart, ablaze, right? I just hoping at the end of the day that they don't like do the Elvis mistake and just rush through everything and then try to make sense of it in the end, right? I also I forgot to mention one of the individuals also mentioned that because of how complex of a person he was, he felt that the feature film approach was not enough. Like it should be like a mini series,
Right.
right?
It could be a TV show.
And people would watch
Right.
it.
Right.
People would watch it. I could see that showing on
Yeah.
Max and the rated at TVMA or whatever it is, and it works, right? And speaking of
Right.
that, though, I am really curious to see what the rating of this could be, right? Because it could be a PG-13, whatever, right? But they have to bring in the weed. They have to bring in that marijuana. Sorry. So I can't wait to see
Exactly.
rated PG-13 for drug content, or, something like that. Like how to
Right. Whatever.
summarize it. But dog, like you had to show Marley. You had to show weed in this, right? Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts around it, right? It is what
Right.
it is. But at the end of the day, I just want that I just hoping that this show does Bob Marley justice, right? But at the same time, a little nervous. I'm not too sure how this movie is gonna play out, right? And especially the response of it, right? But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait until January the 12th to see how this plays out, man. But for what it's worth, for the trailer scene here, it's fine. It's not mind blowing. It's like, oh my god, like
Right.
so amazing. I need to see it. It's fine. And believe you me, the Caribbean, like a lot of people in the Caribbean, are definitely going to be looking out for this film, man, for real. So, Ricardo, your honest opinion on this trailer and what you expect from the movie?
Yeah, expect a decent amount of hype. As usual, the usual complaints and the mitigation of those complaints was expected. Normal thing. Who you could have get. Like I try to think of what Jamaican actor they could have gotten to play the role. Like who's an actor who known career in theater, probably have crossovers in Britain and England. Off the top of my head, I can't think about it. I don't know Kingsley Benadir's career. I just assume he might have Jamaican roots or some connection in some way. Maybe I don't know. Right? I find he sounded fine, like on thing. But the problem with accents is that people always bitch and complain about accent. But as far as a populous conceit of what we know a Jamaican accent to be, not a stereotype, right? Not Sebastian the Crab, not that bullshit, but just a workable conceit of what you know a Jamaican sounds like. It sounds fine because is the transatlantic bullshit you still have to deal with a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sounding fine. It's kind of like remember Bushmaster from Thing now. He's sounding good.
All right, right. From second season
Luke
of
Cage.
Luke Cage, yeah.
Look, right. It's that's how I was thinking. And as far as I know, that actor not Jamaican at all. So it's
Nope.
way good to with it, and it looking like another solid music biopic from music at that time, right? It might be a little too bland and standard, but Bob Marley's a really interesting figure. So we'll see what they will do with it. We'll find. Nothing about it saying way boy it doesn't look like shit or nothing like that. Could be, but we'll find out. But looking good. It's a solid trailer in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.